Well, hello, everyone. Welcome. Really excited to be here with these incredible panelists, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Shayna Zand. I'm the managing director at Host Agency Reviews, where we work with all the host, franchise, consortium, and travel agencies in North America. I'm also the chairman of the board for Tourism Cares. I'm thrilled to be moderating this conversation on what the future of tech and AI are looking like in the host agency and franchise space for travel advisors. And I have a wonderful panel to give us more insights. So please join me in welcoming our wonderful speakers. We have Brian, CIO of Cruise Planners, Summer, project manager for Uniglobe Travel Center, and Casey, Senior Director for Global Travel Collection Project Management. And the reason I am doing the quick intros is because we're going to jump right into the questions. We've only got 20 minutes and we've got three incredible speakers. So if you're ready, everyone, I'm going to jump right in. And Casey, I'm going to bring the first question over to you to get us started. Cool. So where do you see the biggest ROI from with regards to AI within the host agency space? Efficiency, marketing, client acquisition, back office automation, or is there something I'm missing?
Back office automation, I think, is the key here because we are all experts in travel. What we're not experts in is the ever-changing industry behind the scenes, right? So let's AI in the back office automation, helping with commissions, quality controls, content ingestion, getting everything in front of the travel agents and supporting you on your day-to-day operations is where I really see AI coming into play. So high volume, rule-based tasks that are ripe for agentic AI automation, that can really deliver the most measurable cost savings, I think.
Amazing. Brian, anything you want to add to that from the franchise side?
No, I tend to agree with Casey on this. I think on the back office side, we have some advantages that the travel advisor may not have is we have aggregation of data. We have a lot of sources that we get from our partners and whatnot. And I think optimizing that information and putting it in the hands of the advisor is where we can really superpower them, right? And use all of this information, all these processes and clean them up, automate them to the best of our ability. And I think, again, it provides an additional service on behalf of our franchise network, our host agency to our advisors, getting us more efficient, leaner, I think ultimately trickles down to performance on the advisor side.
Fantastic. Summer, any thoughts? Do you agree with the back office automation? Do you have thoughts on kind of other verticals?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially for host and franchise, back office is always going to be huge because it's a beast, right? And there's a lot of tools that are being used that might be maybe legacy is the right word, but I would call archaic. So I think any advancement in that, everyone's going to be excited about on the host. But for me, I'm sort of an efficiency nerd. So to me, that is kind of the foundation for everything because what I hear the most from advisors or people who work within the host or franchises is I don't have enough time. And all of these tools are things that can really, really make your time not just more efficient, but more effective, right? Like you can sort Skittles efficiently, or it doesn't matter unless it's effective. So I think these tools will really help every piece focus on the revenue producing activities and kind of eliminate a lot of this almost like junk work that needs to be done, but takes up so much time.
Yeah, absolutely love that. And I'm going to stick with you for kind of moving into the next question here. So what skill sets, and I say skill sets, and that's beyond selling travel for travel advisors, do you think that they need to thrive in this AI enhanced environment that we're coming into or that we're well in already?
Yeah. I mean, I think I might have a little bit of a soapbox on this one too, because I think we sometimes think about tech and AI as like this magic wand. Like if we think it's just suddenly going to be built, right? Back when they were like, oh, if you have a website, people will come. Oh, if you have an Instagram account, people will come. But there's things that you actually have to do. So I, work a lot on CRMs and task automation and workflows. And usually people say, but like, how do I build that out? This is a great tool. And I say, you start with a piece of paper and a pen and you go through your entire process, every single detail. And then you can translate that into how the tool is going to work for you. So same thing with AI, you could have a Michelin star chef and you want an Italian meal. And if everything in your pantry is not what he's going to use to make an Italian meal, it doesn't matter how good he is, right? It's kind of trash in, trash out is always the key. So I think when it comes to using tech and using AI, a skill is to be able to step back to the beginning and say, like, as a foundation, what am I trying to accomplish? And how do I make sure I'm inputting the right things to get the result that I want? You can't give somebody fried chicken and mashed potatoes and expect an Italian meal, right? So you have to think through those things. So I think that's a skill that maybe seems almost like opposite of very like tech focused, but I think everyone really needs to start there if they're going to get the result they want from tech.
Absolutely. And now I'm hungry, so thank you. Brian or Casey, anything you want to add if there's skill sets that you think advisors need to thrive in this AI environment?
I mean, I think, and I agree with Summer's overall premise. Yeah, you got to kind of know what you want to do before you just jump into something, right? Now, I do think when it comes to AI, we've all sort of used ChatGPT for a couple of years now. And in the early days, you'd ask a question and maybe you got the answer in a slightly different expected format of what you're looking for. But I think we've all gotten a little bit better at that. But I think the premise is really sound. I think Summer's point is really sound, which is first identify what you're trying to accomplish. Is there some mundane process that you're trying to optimize or make more efficient or to solve for? It could be as simple as, a better communication strategy with your customer base, but identify that, kind of have a North Star of where you want to go, and then use AI to help get you to that objective, right? If you just kind of go in and blindly and say, this will write my emails for me, you're going to have a very negative experience because it's not you, it's not your voice, and it may be not communicating in the way you think you want to be communicating. So have a plan, and then each of these different tools, leverage them in the way that makes sense for you and your workflow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes we see like there's so many tools out there and we get so overwhelmed by all of it. So to take a step back and to say, okay, here's what I want to do. Now step back and say, okay, how do I go about and achieve that? Casey, anything you want to add before we head on to the next question?
Yeah, I think the last point I would make is just build digital trust with you and the AI tool that you are using, right? So if you're using ChatGPT, if you're using Gemini, Grok, Copilot, whatever, learn how it responds, understand how to prompt it, how to contextualize the information that you're using it with. And then once you have that sort of trust in what you're using is when the sort of that advisor client trust in using automation and AI will start to unfold and become part of your day-to-day solution. So
yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna take a little bit of a 180 here and kind of be really specific to some of the investments, and Casey and Brian in particular. I'm gonna come to you both. So Casey, maybe I'll start with you, talking about how are you balancing, how is GTC and the team balancing investments in proprietary tech versus integrating third-party platforms?
yeah, so this is a fantastic question. So Internova Global Travel Collection, right? So we actually have a huge team for the AI COE, the Center of Excellence. I have a team of 10 developers, business analysts, and so forth that are specifically working on proprietary AI technology and bringing in third-party AI products for all of our divisions and certainly GTC, right? The problem, though, is that where do we find what can I build today and I need it now? Or what can a third-party service offer me that's so different and better than what I can provide, right? And a lot of the third-party companies, right, they have the technology available for me today, now, and I can implement it, get it in quickly. But the problem with third-party technology is they are not us, right? They don't understand necessarily the full back-end process from end to end. So we have to sort of navigate that with this new world of AI and how we can integrate those third-party solutions. So to kind of understand the buy versus build is really where is the benefit in how quick I can get it to my advisors. AI right now is so new, even though it's been around for a couple of years. In our industry, we're slow to adapt to new technologies. I think the better option for me, at least, is to sort of build a POC, a small version of what we're looking at. And then if we need to go out and buy to make it bigger, available for everyone, then we would do that. So really, I focus on build, And then if we need to go and buy, we would buy.
Very interesting. Brian, at Cruise Planners, what are you all doing?
We follow a very similar paradigm. We have developers, and we're as a franchise and larger host agencies, we have some resources available to us. One thing that I think is really important here is proprietary information, right? When you're talking about information that's specific to your network or your group of advisors and whatnot, and you want to leverage that information, sometimes it's very challenging to find a third-party solution that integrates in the way you want, and two, that has the privacy and security protections that you want for your proprietary information. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we look at the business case for what we're going to be doing with AI. We look at, okay, this is what this thing will do once it's produced. We do a lot of proof of concepts. We look at, how will this play from an advisor perspective? If we're doing it on the back end at the corporate level, our audiences, our team members here, we look at that and we say, okay, is there an off-the-shelf product in the market that's mature, that has good recommendations, that has good support, good company backing it? And does it require any of our proprietary information? And once that decision is made, a lot of times we tend to lean toward the build model, right? Because there's great tooling out there that exists today, and it's getting better every day. We're a big partner with Amazon AWS, and they have great platforms that exist today. So partnering with them and saying, here's our business case, here's what we're trying to do, let's use your foundational models to do this, is a build sort of with a buy on the side, right? Because we're leveraging third party. But there are amazing tools out there that do a very specific, unique task that I don't want to replicate. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. If it's out there and it works really well and it works in our workflow, we'll definitely consider that. It's a very delicate balance, quite honestly. We have to think about the investment, both short-term and long-term, and then also the proprietary and protection of our data. So that's kind of how we measure those things.
Great. Just to kind of add on to that question, both for Casey and Brian, is there anything like one or two things that you're like, when you're looking out there and something already exists, you're like, you know what, this is definitely not worth us building? Or is it really kind of case by case, do you find?
I think for me, it's case by case. There have been a lot of AI companies that have popped up, particularly in the travel space, that are sort of branded as these are for the travel advisor. And they tend to, in my opinion, and this is unique to me, they tend to be so generic that it ends up kind of washing away the value prop that the advisor brings to their customer, right? If it's too generic, or if it's not, doesn't have their voice, or if it's not personalized, or if it's not representing the qualities of their brand or of their organization, then I'm kind of like, yeah, that's not really a good fit for us. But there, again, we've seen other things, and I'm like, that's incredible. Can we incorporate that in some way? I don't mind paying a license fee. Can we incorporate that to bring the value it does, and then kind of wrap it in the umbrella of what we're trying to get across?
Yeah, kind of build it within your ecosystem. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Casey, anything to add to that?
Yeah, we're especially a host agency with ICs that everybody's voice is different. Everybody does something of the same thing in a different way. So when you go and you buy a product, it's very much a one size fits all kind of solution where it's only going to support one person, two people, three people, right? But I want things to support everybody. So that's where I'm mostly geared to build.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, for the last two questions, I'm going to kind of roll around the room here. So I'll start with you, Brian. Is there an AI tool that you're most excited about today? And this can be an in-house tool that you've built as well. It doesn't have to be something that is out there for everybody, but just out of curiosity.
Yeah, we have, I don't know, half dozen short-term initiatives with AI that I'm pretty fired up about. I think if I could give two examples, one is, the state of our industry in terms of consistency is pretty all over the place. So when you talk about an advisor trying to input confirmation in order to get paid for a booking, earn commission on a booking, so many of our partners out there have varying formats and different details that exist. So we're working on basically a document ingestion process where an advisor can just upload a confirmation, and our AI picks it up, pulls out all the relevant information, saves it to their database. Very cursory process for them to review it. That alone will save our advisors potentially dozens of hours on a weekly basis where they're manually keying things in, which quite honestly, it's inefficient, it's error prone. We're trying to smooth that out. And I think it's a really wonderful way, a use case of using AI to do what it does well, which is understand, complex concepts and break it down and use it in a way that's really efficient. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do, but if you would have told me this was possible 7 or 8 years ago, I'd say probably not. And here we are. And I think the second thing we're really focusing on is this transition to natural language over our, point and click different forms to fill out information. So, for example, if we're doing a complex crew search, we have a form, I think it has 65 options on it, which we've needed to as we've grown. We're moving to a more of a natural language model where you ask the screen, hey, I'm looking for this type of vacation for my customer, very natural. And we'll deliver those results using the same engine behind the scenes. But I think each of these things boil down to taking a process that might be cumbersome, not complicated, but cumbersome, takes up a lot of time, and just smooth that out and use this AI technology to make that process smoother. And my feeling is we're going to look back on this in 7 or 8 years and say, hey, remember when we had to do all that stuff? That was ridiculous, and that's kind of the direction I see us going.
I'm already there. Remember when I had to do that? Summer, do you have an AI tool that you're very excited about right now?
I mean, it's not necessarily an AI specific tool because we're a smaller host, right? So we're not really building much on our own. So what we look for is what can encompass, what we're used to is piecemealing everything and having all these different systems. And as we talked about, like archaic systems, and sort of what Brian said, like a few years ago, you're like, oh, there's no way we can get away from this. There's no other option. And now suddenly all of these things can be built that didn't have an option before. So one of the products and companies that we are looking really closely at is Turn, which is a CRM system, because they are looking at building all the way from the back office to replace something like trams. Anyone ever had to work in trams? Yeah, but something all the way through. But we're also looking at, we don't just want something that works for our back office. We also want it to be a great tool for the advisor. So we're trying to find companies that are heavily focused on AI, but can build us sort of a nose to tail system that we can use because we're smaller and we do have to be more efficient in sort of different tools that we can invest time and resources in.
Yeah, absolutely. Casey?
Yeah, so there's actually a comment here in this chat that says, it seems travel brands will eventually need their own AI identity, a house brain. So that's, if you haven't seen the news, it's all over the place. Atlas AI, which is a proprietary technology for global travel collection. It's the travel brain for global travel collection, and it's an incredible knowledge graph vector of everything. I think there's over 300,000 data points for our advisors. So think of our commission contracts, our supplier contacts, our GDS, EDIFACT, long formats. How do I sell a flight kind of thing? Knowledge across the entire industry in one box. I think that's what I'm most excited is to continue growing that and leveraging that across all of our brands and divisions and just sort of creating a travel agency in a box that fits anywhere for anyone.
Very cool. I love all of this. We've got about a minute and a half left. So we'll do a quick fire on something that you see, AI or emerging technologies. What do you see in the next 3 to 5 years that you think will reshape the host or franchise model for travel advisors? I'm going to start with you, Summer.
Yeah, I think, it's already happening, but I think where you can go with like predictive analytics. So you can be a lot more focused on the people you're bringing into your host, but also the advisors and what clients that they're working with and how to service them. So the more efficient we get, the better tools we have, the better data we have, which kind of informs everything and can be a lot more predictive on what's going to be the best result for us as far as clients and suppliers, hosts, all across the board. So I'm excited about predictive analytics.
Amazing. Casey?
I'm really excited about kind of sort of the Atlas kind of thing again, but sort of building the agentic solution out in the future that connects us with our suppliers in real time. So imagine products and services available to our suppliers right in front of their face, communicating with the suppliers in real time versus having to wait, back and forth communication. That's really where the agentic AI component in the future, I think, will be beneficial for the host model.
Amazing. And Brian, close it out for us.
Yeah, I'm excited about everything everybody said so far. I'm excited for the prospect of what the future looks like from the advisor's perspective, just being super operationalized, being super optimized, knowing their business, knowing their best customers, how to sell them, connecting to all of our partners, making the transaction simpler, getting the turnaround time lower, reducing call times to suppliers. All of those things, I think AI will be foundational in improving over the next 3 to 5 years.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here, joining the Travel Trends AI Summit. And thank you to everybody listening. We're so excited to be here, and we hope that you enjoyed the panel today. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks, Shayna.
Thank you.
Thank you all.